episode 69 of The Good Life.
Tonight we're going to be going over how trauma affects men's intimate relationships. Trauma is the response to a deeply distressing and disturbing event that overwhelms one's ability to cope. What is traumatic to one person is completely different to what might be traumatic to somebody else.
Men having these types of issues comes with shame, comes with guilt, right? Comes with a lot of the things that take you away from living the good life.
What you're doing here is you're bringing different solutions to the table that doesn't involve Rex MD and Blue Chew and Roman and hymns.
Highly recommend every man cease or reduce heavily your relationship with porn if you are having problems with anything around this environment.
Give yourself a hug. Pat yourself on the back. It's all good.
There are ways to continue to get through it, get over it, but we have to bring awareness to it.
The peanut gallery that's constantly doing this. You're not doing it right. You're not enough. You're not da. What is wrong with you? Oh my gosh. In reality, out here, maybe everything is fine.
Getting drunk to hook up. That is a great way to take yourself down a very slippery slope of substance dependency, different types of self-esteem things that may show up in a leadership position.
We might be talking about it kind of like on a younger level, but I think this is very relevant to folks that have been in relationships for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years as well.
If you don't feel safe and you want to talk to somebody, find a professional. So that way you're not bouncing around all these kinds of shames and ideas about how this one small piece of your life defines you as a man or as a woman.
Welcome to the Good Life.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Good Life Visual Audio Podcast. I got Stu here. Say what's up, Stu.
What's up, y'all?
Kobi's in the building. Say what's up.
What up, though? Got juice?
Got juice. And as always, I'm Chris. We're diving into how to design your life with extraordinary health, wealth, and mindset. Find us wherever you listen to podcasts or watch them, whether that's YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, doesn't matter. Go there, find us, like it, subscribe, all that good stuff. Because again, we got another good one for you today. Stu, intro to the people what we're talking about, and then I got a special announcement.
All right. So tonight we're going to be going over how trauma affects men's intimate relationships and what to do about it.
Ooh, this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, it's not always the most fun thing to talk about, but a lot of people just don't feel like they can share on it or actually learn about it and solve it.
So true. It's a real issue. It's something that we want to talk about because it might deter someone from getting to that good life. That's why we want to touch on it. But special announcement time. Drum rolls. There it is. Thank you for
we're professionals.
The light tap. Guys, we got our mid-year event coming up July the 24th. So some of you that have been following us for some time know that we held an event in quarter one of this year and had a great turnout, got a chance to really dive even deeper. You guys get a chance to hear us every week for about an hour, go into these topics, but what is it like when you can get everyone in a closed environment in a room? Granted, we were on Zoom, but either way, we're all together in a room talking and diving deep into each of these areas in our health, in our financial state, in our mental state, diving in and giving you the tips and tools, again, that you're going to need to prepare yourself for this journey of getting to the good life. We take time to just dive in and make this an exclusive event that people can join so you can go deeper with us. We have another one, like I said, coming up July the 24th. So mark your calendars. July the 24th. It is a Sunday. That is the next time we will be able to dive in a very intimate setting and really give you all of the tips and tools that you're going to need to, again, continue to develop this good life. It's going to be different than what we had in quarter one. We're going to add way more. We took all the good things that we did and the things that we wanted to switch up and change. And this one is going to be the best event yet. And we're excited for it. So we wanted to just make sure that you all had the date, save the date, July the 24th. That's when it's going down. Gentlemen, any additions to that? You want to add your 2 cents to it?
Yeah, I think who is this event for? We've kind of talked about it, and we've decided that this event's going to be for business owners, executives, things of that nature. I think corporate athletes. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I know that's the tentative idea.
That's exactly it. We are welcoming really everybody that is looking to design that good life, but specifically, like Stu said, we want to dive into those of you that are the corporate athletes, the ones that are out there progressing your career, moving things forward, and maybe just need a little tweak, a little guidance here and there. That's what we're here to do. Right, Kobi?
Love it. Hey, if you want to improve your life, you should be there.
That's simple. That simple. If you see on the screen, those of you that are watching, if you want to sign up for our email list, there's a link down there that'll give you access to we don't have the official link out just yet, but this link will get you on our email so we can then send you that link when it's time to register. It should be coming up in the next week or so. By the time you even hear this, it may be out. So register, sign up. We want to really impact people's lives. Best part, guys, it's another free one, right? We just want to give you value. We want to continue to make sure that you have access to this information so that you can improve your life. So sign up for the email list, and then we will have the actual link to register for our mid-year event, July the 24th. We'll have that link coming out very, very soon. That being said, on to the show. So, client stories. Those of you that have been following us again, you know that we've been talking about, or when we open up our show, we're normally talking about a client story or some client insights. Each of us actually have our own personal clients. You might not know that. We don't just do this all the time, right? We actually have our own personal clients that we are having conversations with and sitting down in our respective areas. So anytime we get insight from them, we want to make sure we're sharing it with all of you. Kobi, you want to dive in? What's a client takeaway for this week?
Let's
this week.
do it. Do it. All right, guys. Conversation I've been having recently, I think it's one that will hopefully bring something to each one of us, myself included, is what is the intention behind what you're doing? So in my case, whether it's health, what is the intention behind the things that you're eating? What is the intention behind the workouts that you're doing? What is the intention behind the way that you're moving about? Sometimes I find that clients who are just doing what they're told, or they're doing what they feel like they should be doing. I should drink some juice. I should eat a salad. I should do this. I should do that. Or I should do what that doesn't come with any sort of intention that actually carries that thing through. And if you go through a workout, for example, specifically, let's take a workout. You go through a workout and you set an intention of should, or you set an intention of I want to improve my back health, my low back health. I want to improve the way I breathe. I want to improve this. You're going to get a much better outcome. And a worst case scenario, you don't set an intention at all, right? Like, I'm just doing this because that's what I should be doing, and I'm just going through the motions. Have you guys ever seen that? I've been watching NBA playoffs recently, and I'm watching through in every single game. There've been a couple blowouts in the Eastern Conference Finals, and whenever there's a blowout, a coach comes out and says, "We just didn't have it tonight. Our minds wasn't there. We didn't have the intention. They're speaking to their intention, like we didn't show up." Right? It's not that we didn't know what to do. We literally just didn't show up. We weren't there. And that's a conversation that I've been having recently is set an intention behind what it is that you're doing. All right. Set an intention behind what it is that you're doing. Why are you doing it? Why is this thing important to you? Otherwise, don't do it. It's a waste of time. Don't do it. Right? Set that intention. Why is it that you want to do a solid food vacation? Why is it that you want to eat a particular way? Otherwise, granted, guys, it's a lot more fun just to eat however you want. So why waste your time in no man's land halfway struggling? Set that intention, and that intention will carry you through, right? It will carry you through tremendously. And I think it's incredibly important. And it's something that has made the difference in the conversation that I'm having with some of my clients. Actually, all of my clients, those that are setting good intentions for themselves and those that aren't. And it's made a difference. So that's it for me this week. Hopefully that makes an impact in how you go about your health, your wealth, and your mindset and your happiness.
I love it.
Mm.
Love it.
Well put. One thing just to kind of echo that, I've noticed that, as coaches, life coaches, etc. A lot of individuals are making daily consistent commitments, and if they're not doing it daily, if their intention is not to grow and to learn, but they're just kind of doing it to check the boxes, as you're saying, but just not really showing up with that passion or purpose or desire to gain knowledge, they may be just following through on some daily habits and commitments because they feel like they should, or they have shame when they do not. So I think, the intention, the purpose, and just the awareness of you being your own coach is very big. And for those that are struggling to begin to build that intuition of how to regulate yourself versus just following what people say you should be doing every single day to a T, that's what we're here for. As far as my client story, given tonight's topic about trauma, I did want to go ahead and mention that I am supporting some men through this topic. I didn't have any good stories on this right now, aside from being able to talk to somebody about the intimacy, either emotionally, intellectually, or physically between you and your partner. And this is for the guys, especially out there. Find somebody to talk to about that. There's no shame in having those issues, and you're very much not alone, which we'll get into today. But as far as this week's client takeaways, I wanted to go into these project management tools and time management strategies that I've been helping some executive clients with. One, a stone distributor business owner, and another, a regional manager of a tequila distributor, which was a favorite of mine. So basically, I've been setting up CRM tools through a software called Trello for them. So for those that are running a small team of about 5 to maybe 20 people, if you're having trouble keeping up with the team members, the client accounts, just different types of things, there are tools that you can put together out there that are customized to you and what you're doing, and I can help you with that. The other tool I helped somebody else with was how to come up with a hot list for a morning meeting. How do you take all of this stuff that's going on with all the different team members and departments within your entity and get them to communicate and have like a deliverable for that on a daily basis? And we're going to be building that out on Friday from stuff I've seen before. So a lot of stuff happening on the time management side. And for those interested in time management, I'm actually hosting a workshop next week. It's going to be, let me check, Tuesday, May 31st, 7:30 Eastern, for those that are trying to get a hold of the organizational aspect of running a business or working remotely.
That's huge. That's huge. What was that date again?
May 31st. So that is next Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern.
Cool. We'll make sure we put it up in the comments if there's a link to it or whatever. So that's awesome. My client story. So for those of you that don't know, stock market's not doing too well right now. I don't know if you guys know that, but if you did, good. This has been the bulk of the conversation that I've been having over the past week or so, specifically with a demographic, the 50 and older, what we call the boomers, right? That 55 and older demographic, the boomers, not in a good place right now, right? Not in a good place. They are very stressed out about their money, seeing it go down. Is this just another one that they have to ride down and then ride back up? Is this something where this is going to be completely different than last time? They don't really know exactly what's happening. And so having these conversations with them has always brought me back to a couple things, which is, one, you've got to know the pros and cons for investing, right? Whatever you choose to invest in, whatever that is, if it is your 401k or 403b or IRA, great, but truly understand what is happening. What's tax deferred? How does the money grow? Most importantly, when I'm ready to get off the roller coaster, can I? That is such a huge question in investments. It's like when I'm ready to get off, when I'm like, hey, I'm done, do I have the ability to take this money? That's one of the toughest things about being in a company sponsored plan, is because you really can't unless you leave employment, right? But for everyone else that is now analyzing their investments, right? Because when the stock market is down, the crypto market is down, when all these things are happening, then this is time for you to really dive in. We have a saying that says fear sharpens listening. Fear sharpens listening. So for those of you that are listening right now that might have a little bit of fear because of your portfolio, well, now is the time to start to dive in and learn the ins and outs of your investment. Learn how it works. Learn how the money grows. Learn exactly what you're invested in. Understand what's happening in the market so then you can better prepare yourself for what's up ahead. Many people have the time to ride out the market. Some people do not have that time, right? So we got to make sure that we are being smart with our investments. When the stock market is down, for those of you that are in a good position, that are in a good financial position, this is the time to buy, right? Or at least start paying attention to the things you want to buy, because when things are on sale, it is a good time, right? But for everybody else, make sure you just know what is going on in your investment portfolio. Know your investments inside and out, the pros and the cons to them. That's the client takeaway for today.
All right. So topic for tonight, as I mentioned before, it's trauma and how it affects men's intimate relationships. So who is this for? Obviously, this is for men. Surprise. It's also for women. Yeah, I know, right? It's also for women who are concerned about, it could be the relationship that they are in, could be a relationship of someone they know. But at the end of the day, it's for people that are having some type of difficulty with emotional or physical intimacy or vulnerability in a romantic partnership, as well as vulnerability in platonic or like familial or coworker relationships. This is not just for the physical component that I'm talking about here tonight. That is probably where I'm going to spend most of my time. But for anyone out there that has felt the social anxiety of being around people they're not familiar with, or people especially that they are trying to get close to and connect with, if you're feeling your nervous system acting up, you're having a difficult time staying focused because you're concerned about how they may be viewing you, etc. If you're experiencing anxiety with that or difficulty in opening up, that is a perfect example of how trauma affects not just the physical intimacy, but the intimacies of intellectual, emotional variance as well. So real quick, let's start by defining trauma. Trauma is the response to a deeply distressing and disturbing event that overwhelms one's ability to cope. This can cause feelings of helplessness. It can diminish your confidence, your sense of self. There's really like a whole range of emotions and experiences that you may be missing out on or not as able to be present to because of something that was traumatic to you. And what is traumatic to one person is completely different to what might be traumatic to somebody else. So I encourage you guys to kind of experience this, or just think about this conversation and take a moment and maybe not active listen the whole time, but also visualize, in what relationships am I struggling to get closer? Is this something that may not be logical? Is this something that my intuition is telling me? Could my intuition be wrong? Could I just be operating from a fear-based place of connecting with this person intellectually, emotionally, or physically? But I want to go ahead and dive in on the physical dysfunction that can happen to men because of trauma and the responses to trauma. So dysfunction can be a huge variety of things. Impotence is not the only thing. So Chris, could you pull up that website from Cleveland Clinic? What is dysfunction?
Sure. What is dysfunction? Cleveland Clinics. Got it coming. Screen. Tab. What was it called again? Cleveland Clinics?
Yeah, it's the second one on there.
Got you.
All right, so if you scroll down a little bit. So what is dysfunction? So here are 4 different types that we've all heard about. We all joked about them, snickered. That would never happen to us in all different types of like sex ed classes. But it's not just impotence or your stuff not lighting up when you're with somebody that you want to be with. It's also not being able to finish the process or finishing too early, as well as just not even being interested in connecting physically with your partner. A lot of people really don't understand that sometimes your lack of physical interest in either someone else, or if you're taking it, if you're kind of looking at it from their perspective, someone's lack of interest in you may not be about you at all. It may not be about the physical appearance. The physical attraction may be there. However, there are some psychological reasons that you don't feel safe in that environment. And when we don't feel safe, we stay in that fight or flight situation. We're not supposed to be in a fight or flight situation when we are like deeply physically connecting with somebody. So go ahead and exit out of that, Chris.
Cool.
And just so everybody knows, I have a couple different websites that I'm going to add here because I want you guys to have like some solid reading content and resources to look into this further. I don't have time to go into it all tonight. But here's what I want to get to. We don't need to pull up the website, but I'm going to have it included in the comments where there's an article that basically summarizes into pills may not be the solution for all of the dysfunction that you or some of the dysfunction that you're feeling in your life, whether it's as a single person, in casual relationships, or if it's in a monogamous thing or a romantic thing. At the end of the day, just because your body isn't responding the way you want it to doesn't mean it's a physical issue. If you are, like I said earlier, if you're afraid to kind of go there, if something happened to you in the past, or if you have just fears or false expectations from society or porn, which I would highly recommend every man, potentially every woman out there, cease or reduce heavily your relationship with porn if you are having problems with anything around this environment. It is not realistic, and it is not really why we are supposed to be here or how our bodies function. By looking at a screen, if you have yourself ready to go looking at a screen, you may feel a completely different sensation, have false expectations in the real thing. So a pill is not always the solution. And many times it may also indicate something wrong with the relationship. And that's brought up in one of the websites I'll have later is going into that. So there are ways to overcome the psychological effects of some type of erectile dysfunction. So Chris, could you go to the website, Golden State, Overcoming the Psychological Effects? Sometimes friends, mentors, partners can be that safe container for you. But if you don't feel safe and you want to talk to somebody, find a professional. So that way you're not bouncing around all these kinds of shames and ideas about how this one small piece of your life defines you as a man or as a woman. Second piece is trust your partner. A lot of times this stuff doesn't work because there may be some type of trust issues. There may be an emotional disconnect. There's guided imagery. And then if you go down one more, thank you, sir, there's meditation. Who would have thought? I have so many people come to me and say, you can go ahead and exit out of that, Chris. Thank you. I have so many people come to me and say, I don't know how to meditate. I don't like it. The voices are too loud, or I get bored. But they have so many different psychological things that numerous resources reference meditation can help you with. What is meditation to me in this instance? Becoming present to the moment, aware of your thoughts. Through meditation, you can figure out some of the psychological blocks that you have in connecting with someone in, like I said earlier, intellectual, emotional, or physical ways. So that's some of the stuff you can do. Anyone here is free to reach out to me if you're watching this. If this is something that you struggle with. I had to deal with this for 6 years of my life, college into my early 20s. It's not fun. I thought a pill would be the solution. It was not. That was bullshit from marketing. And there's ways to get out of it. And I have plenty of witnesses that would agree that it's working just fine now. So
sorry, bro. That
was the point. I'm trying to keep this kind of light because it's a bit of a heavy topic for some people out there. But long story short, you do not always have to deal with this. Please seek assistance rather than put it off. I did everything on that list to overcome it, and it works. So that's my 2 cents there. What I wanted to go ahead and do is open it up to you guys. Let's chop this up a little bit.
Real quick to clarify, are you saying the list works, or are you saying there is a way to make it all work? I think that might be crucial.
Both. There is a way
Okay.
to make it work, and that specific list of things to overcome the psychological effects of dysfunction work.
Okay. So there's hope. There's hope.
Oh, there's hella hope. It's just
Brothers and sisters, there's hope.
there's
There's hope.
hope. And
Here on the
sisters,
Good
I know
Life,
that's
we bring you
important to you
hope.
too. So at the end of the day, I very much encourage everybody to like just work on this stuff. There are ways here. You can find everything on the internet to do this on your own. But if you want a guide, I got you. And there's also plenty others out there if you're looking for someone of the opposite gender or someone that specializes in this mainly. So, fellas, curious what thoughts or comments may have come up. I just wanted to chop this up a little bit before we get into some segments.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm glad here on the Good Life Show we can bring up the difficult topics and really attack them. I don't know of a lot of shows that'll go from the stock market one day to solid food vacation the next day to a potentially tough hard situation. Yeah, and
Pause.
no, we don't do that here. We're
Yes,
professionals.
we do.
We're professionals. And I appreciate you bringing it up because it's something that quite frankly, I think maybe somebody's listening to this and they don't know what to do, or they're buying the marketing. I just looked up, before we started this show here, all the companies that are out here really profiting off of this. And I'm not saying they shouldn't, because it's a problem and they're providing a solution. And what you're doing here is you're bringing different solution to the table that doesn't involve us going to Lemonade or what is it? Rex MD and Blue Chew and Roman and all of these and Hims and all of these folks that are discreet packaging right to your front steps. Don't have to worry about it. You'll be good to go, right? And maybe that does work for somebody, and that's one solution, that's one marketing. And I appreciate you bringing a different perspective to it, that there's other ways to go about it.
For sure.
Appreciate you touching on that, man. Yeah, it's it wasn't really the easiest thing to talk about. I was actually kind of sweating it all week. And which is so interesting because it's been in the past for so long, but some of this stuff really sticks with you. So yeah, seriously, anybody that wants to even just have like a consultation on this, I got you. But
Yeah, that's important. Let me throw it in really quick because let me throw it in really quick. It's gonna be a lot of Johnson jokes. No, I'm joking.
We're keeping it light here in the Good Life. We're here to
we are.
educate and entertain, ladies and gentlemen.
We are always good to have a space where we can talk about it. How does all of this, because some people that you might be listening, like, how does this all tie in? You got to remember, like, these types of issues that men have, and women have their own set, but like men having these types of issues definitely comes. I think I saw it on that one of those articles. Comes with shame, comes with guilt, right? Comes with a lot of the things that take you away from living the good life, lowered self-confidence, all of those things. And how do you show up? How do you perform in life when your relationship, right? Like, you can't really show up in your relationships the way that you want to, or this is kind of that baggage that is held over your head. So we have to talk about that, because we, again, on the Good Life, we're talking about breaking free from all of these things. In order to get to the good life, you can't have these things holding you back, the shame, the guilt, the things that other people are dealing with. Also, you have to know that there are ways to continue to get through it, get over it, but we have to bring awareness to it. We have to talk about these things. And, kudos to you, Stu, for, like, again, bringing up the topic and this being something that you had to deal with in the past. And now, right, you're on the other side of it, so to speak. And now you can bring awareness to it. That's really what this is about. And that's why we want to have the conversation, because it does come with shame and guilt and all of these things when you can't perform properly. And for a man, that has a direct reflection in the quality of his life. So I'm glad we can talk about it.
Yeah. You actually did. Yeah, go ahead, Kobi.
I like to dive in a little bit too as to, like, properly. Like, what does that really mean? I think it's important to kind of address that in this conversation, because that is part of the marketing. You know, as young men, over time, I feel like the information about what that means to perform properly is being delivered more and more by certain websites, if you will. And I think that's part of the issue here. And there's every kid now has a phone, so they can access this stuff a lot sooner, and they're exposed to this stuff a lot sooner. I'm not saying they shouldn't be, but they're also exposed to a particular type. And if it doesn't look like that, then you get the idea in the head that maybe that isn't that maybe there's something wrong with you, there's something wrong with the situation, there's something wrong with the other party, there's something weird here that shouldn't be the case. And I think it's important to address that because, you know, a lot of this is I would venture to guess, I don't have a survey or anything, but a lot of this is in the head, and we can get out of the head and into the body. um you know, a lot of this is kind of addressed. And what I mean by that is the voice in the head that's constantly the peanut gallery that's constantly doing this. You're not doing it right. You're not enough. You're not da 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 da. What is wrong with you? Oh my gosh. Maybe you'll never be this. Maybe you'll never be that. Maybe you'll never be able to do it. She's gonna leave. He's gonna leave. Da 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 da. Right. And it's important to notice that because that's what's happening here. And why in reality out here, maybe everything is fine.
Mm.
Good point.
That whole thing was a bar, dude.
That's a
Crushed
bar.
that. Because that is a lot of the inner dialogue that I had experienced at one time, and I know some of my clients have experienced. It's all this noise that isn't actually coming from the person. It's you creating it about yourself and creating negative scenarios. And many men are very, very easy to point out how women come up with negative scenarios. Well, guess what? You're doing that same thing right now if you're living in that state and you're hearing some of that inner dialogue. And if you can come up with negative scenarios, you can use some of that guided imagery and positive scenario thinking to actually work your way out of that. So excellent point there. And Chris, you know, you talked about some of the indirect effects of dysfunction. One of them being self-esteem, confidence, a man's manhood, right? We've all heard all that before. Believe it or not, you as a human are not just summarized by however you perform in the bedroom. And I know some people just need to hear that. I could say that about 100 times till it finally sinks in for some individuals, because marketing, music videos, a lot of different types of music may have you thinking otherwise, as well as the certain websites could be alluded to earlier. So it's a big deal. And some of the other things that come up with this is the stigma. So I just wanted to list some of the different things that may get a little jacked up if you're dealing with this. Social opinions of oneself. So if you're out there and you don't know how to deal with this and you're unable to stay in a certain type of relationship, or you have to find perhaps whatever type of way to just connect with somebody physically, you may get a lot of judgment from people that don't know what you're doing. Like they see you and they see you trying to figure things out, and they see relationships going through like highs and lows, or short ones and long ones. You may have no idea what's happening with that person. And unfortunately, sometimes those social opinions can really get in the way of somebody trying to explore this part of their body for a positive reason. Also, substance use can come from this, as many people try and get out of their head by turning all those gears off by getting drunk to hook up. What percent? We all know somebody, some of us included, that have done this in order to silence that noise. Well, that is a great way to take yourself down a very slippery slope of substance dependency. There's also different types of self-esteem things that may show up in you being in a leadership position. How could a man be in a leadership position if he can't do X, Y, and Z, or if he can't hold a woman? Who knows? There's all kinds of narratives out there from hypermasculine bullshit. Other things that may happen, emotional abuse. Either you receive emotional abuse from a partner, or you're not really aware of your shadow and you end up abusing somebody emotionally because you don't want to face the reality that it's you that's not working, not your partner. So that I just wanted to touch on those. Anything you guys want to chop up on those before we go on to true or false?
No, man. I mean, again, I I think just again giving men the awareness is key, and that's what you were kind of hitting on, some of those points that men might be feeling or might be experiencing on a daily basis, and we got to bring that stuff to light, right? And again, heal past this stuff, fix. You started kind of talking about the traumas that could lead to this, right? Like, and I think as men, we may all have those traumas where we have to, kind of go back and take a look at some of these things so we can allow ourselves the ability to heal and get past it, and know that this, if you're dealing with some form of dysfunction, that does not have to determine the rest of your life or the rest of your relationships or the rest of the things that are happening to you. So again, awareness is what I keep coming back to, and I just want people to again, be aware of these things and know that other people deal with it, and there is a way to get through it.
Yeah. There's no shame. There's no loneliness about it.
That's right.
And the last thing, fellas, I want to add here is for me, this is, we might be talking about kind of like on a younger level, but I think this is very relevant to folks that have been in relationships for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years as well, where it can really become a source of pain and a source of disagreement and whatnot, and really drive a wedge between two individuals who normally may perfectly function perfectly fine, love each other, etc. And haven't been down that path 20 plus years, etc. But I can imagine how that would be very, very disruptive,
Absolutely.
So speaking of you too, give yourself a hug, pat yourself on the back. It's all good. Yeah.
All right, so moving on to the true false part of the show today. True or false? Erectile dysfunction is a single problem.
Define single.
Yeah, I was gonna say define single. Like
there is only one type of erectile dysfunction.
One type.
I feel like that's false.
True. Just kidding. No, it is false. So at the end of the day, it could be anything, right? When we think about this, we think about, achieving a certain position to be able to actually go through with the act. But there's all different types of stuff. And one person's story or belief or situation may not apply to somebody else. So I encourage you to kind of educate yourself and look at this as not just a physical issue. There could be something psychologically going on.
Yeah. Let me ask the question real quick before we get into number two.
Yeah.
I think on one of those articles that you had posted or that we had talked about, it said one of the other dysfunctions is low libido. Like men that don't want to have sex. Like, do you come across? Why did Kobi? Do you come across that? And is that also something that kind of, I don't know, we can get out of our head and into our body, so to speak, to really get through? Or is that
I think this has probably happened to 99.9% of the male population. And here's why. Anytime that you have wanted to be in the moment, enjoying the physical intimacy with your partner, and you've stressed out or you were thinking about this time, like all of a sudden this thing you're worried about tomorrow pops up and you get a little distracted. And maybe it's like, oh, honey, it's not the right time or something like that. Any one of those little moments, whether you actually get thrown all the way off the tracks or it's just a slight detour, that in itself is part of the psychological piece of not being present, etc. Now, as far as low libido goes, I do think this is very relevant because we have so much marketing and draw over the whole low testosterone thing. I don't think testosterone is anywhere near as important as it's being played off in a lot of situations. But at the end of the day, not just one singular pill can help you get that testosterone. There's a lot of different things you can do, and a healthy lifestyle as well as managing your stress can go into this. So I think a lot of people deal with that. Absolutely.
Makes sense. I feel
eat liver.
Shout out Liver King.
Liver King said eat liver. You will never have this problem. Your testosterone will never be low. You will never have this issue if you eat raw liver.
I'll pass.
That's what he says.
There it is.
I'll pass.
Yeah.
So there we go. Keep going.
Maybe salt.
All right, cool. So number 2, erectile dysfunction is only an older man's problem.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's only for the old folks.
That's clearly false. Clearly false, right?
Listen,
Right?
18-year-old, 19-year-old having this issue.
Yeah.
All right, I was just playing devil's advocate because we were agreeing too much.
We were, I know. But
Fair
they're
enough.
agreeable. But
So
that
here's
is
the thing. So some statistics actually state that even under 40, because a lot of times we do think about this as an old man's problem or daddy's little helper, but at the end of the day, 15%. You guys never heard that? You guys never heard that slogan?
You said come again?
So
Daddy's little
Viagra
helper.
was advertised as daddy's little helper.
What? See, I always had an issue with variety. See, listen, I didn't want to go down this path, but come on.
Let's
Come
go.
on,
That's why we're
Viagra.
here, bro. Let's do it.
That's ridiculous. This advertising is ridiculous, right? It just either shows it either's like some like a 7-Eleven counter, like something that looks like it could very well give you a horn on your head, or like right now. You have never seen that thing next to the counter when you go
Yes,
to 7
yes.
7-Eleven, see
Gas
the
station
counter.
pills.
I'm like, why does this look like some anime? Like this looks terrifying. It looks or it's this commercial that comes on during the Price is Right during the day, and it shows 2 white-haired individuals when it's like, is it the moment? Is it the time? Can you go,
And
Jerry?
You're in the bathtub
Can you
holding
go, Bob?
hands.
Yeah, I'm like, what is going on with this marketing? Like, oh man, now I understand when women complain about, or not complain, but rightly state that what is going on with all this marketing towards women about all types of other stuff that I, as a man don't think about. And I recognize I have privilege. Thank you very much, San Francisco. And what is going on, man? This marketing is just, I can't do it, man. I can't do it. Because if I did have that issue, I would feel kind of like belittling me. Like, it just doesn't make me feel comfortable. Like, what is this? So I'm either like some creep buying like something in a 7-Eleven corner store that looks like, again, that thing looks like some. Listen, it's terrifying with the comics they draw on there. It's like, is this meant to cause harm to me or to the person? Like, what is this? All of a sudden, like, come on. Either that or an old baseball player selling me testosterone pill, or like some dudes, people holding tough. Like, who are these people going after? I guess that's where like the Hims and the blue pills and the chew whatever's come into play here. But this is a huge market, like huge market. Yeah, blows my mind, makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it, and you know what? Gosh darn it, I don't know. They're out of line.
I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, what I really don't like about this specific type of marketing for daddy's little helper is
Daddy's
often
little helper. God,
I can't believe you never heard that expression. That's crazy. It's in shows, it's in movies. Like people, like it's crazy how frequent this is.
It's
Well,
very
a lot of this
creepy.
marketing is just
creepy.
designed to like invoke the pain points of its participants, which a lot of marketing is. But it invokes the pain points of a guy that's going through this, and it kind of pokes at, hey, there's something wrong with you, man. You're not satisfying your woman. There is so much more to satisfying your partner than this. And there's just not, it's not like this is the only solution. So I don't like it because I think that marketing is very damaging. And because of the stigma and shame it tries to induce on like a social level, it makes people not want to talk about it. In this article, 15% of the male population under the age of 40 experiences this. However, 25% of that same population are the only ones actually looking for treatment. So clearly people aren't actually responding to the survey saying they have it, but studies show that they're looking for solutions. So it's something that people don't want to talk about, but we'll move on to statement number 3. So ED is largely physical.
False. It's mental. It's in the head.
Pun intended.
No.
Oh, yes.
No.
Johnson
Chris,
joke.
what about you?
I would like to say false also, but maybe it's true. Could it be true that it's a physical thing because it deals with a physical part of your body, right? So I'm going to go true.
This website lists it as true, but I think that there's not enough information or studies out there that could possibly prove this leaning one way, more physical or more psychological. Because what's really going on is such a combination of things. Because if, let's say, somebody actually did just have a physically induced dysfunctional problem like this, well, there's actually an article that I'll include in the comments on how traumatic brain injury or spinal cord injury may affect a male's function in this. So especially males that come from like hard-hitting athletic sports, to car accident victims, to all kinds of different stuff. There are so many ways that your body can get jacked up. And then if you begin to heal your body, but you haven't healed the psychology behind having to face somebody and have things not go according to plan, if you begin to create a narrative about that, about who you are and what you're not and all kinds of stuff, now all of a sudden you've been able to heal it physically. If you're still chasing a physical solution, but you're not acknowledging the psychological ramifications of what you've gone through, then perhaps you're going to have a much tougher time getting over it. So for me, I think this is impossible to determine. So I actually don't like where they went with this.
So that means so who was right then? I think I won that one.
Clearly,
According to the website, Chris was right.
No, clearly the website is wrong here.
I think the website is wrong. I absolutely.
How are we going to have a website and then validate
it's one of those bogus
because
websites.
This website has an angle.
It's probably a Russian website. It's
How did you know? No. This website
Did you have to
is
translate the words.
This website is specifically from somebody that tries to treat it through physical medication. So
Clearly slanted.
Exactly.
Right, clearly
But they
slanted.
said it's true, so I will agree with them.
No,
this is a physical thing.
Listen, well, I'll give you this. We know how closely tied the mental is to the physical. We know that. So maybe some way, somehow, they found a way to bend it in that direction so that they could benefit you in this discussion. And I, quite frankly, I'm the bigger man, so I'm going to go ahead and
you can't.
let it go.
You have to feed into that. You have to feed into that bending. That bending.
You can take. No,
Let's just feed into the bending part.
Listen, no. Daddy's a little help.
Chris is Kobi's trying to keep this so high road, and we don't all think that way. But Kobi's here to guide us in the right direction. All right, so
yeah.
Any final comments before we dive into the giveaways, takeaways part of the call today?
I think one final comment that I'll have is the biggest and probably most devastating part of this is the shame that surrounds this. It's a societal stuff, and kind of like a lot of stuff we talk about, right? It's society telling you all the shoulds, and the voice in your head kind of telling you why aren't you fitting those shoulds. And so what Chris alluded to it earlier, I think the awareness that there is no should in this situation, and if you're getting a whole bunch of shoulds from somewhere, turn that voice off. Dare I say, cut the noise.
I like how you tied that in, sir. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I mean, awareness. This is it. This is what we try to do here on The Good Life, is bring awareness to topics that people aren't talking about. Or if you are, maybe you're not getting help with it, or you're not getting the resources, or you're not, aware of the resources or the long-term solutions and short-term solutions for these types of things. And we just want you to know that there are solutions, and a lot of this stuff comes down to practicing, right? Some of these things, meditation was one of those things that was on the list of things that can help. Well, how is your meditative practice? Are you doing it on a consistent basis? Have you tried this as a way to fix this dysfunction you might be, having? If not, then you should be aware that this is a solution because it's helped people. So it might help you. So Awareness is everything, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't picked up the theme, awareness is everything.
I want to touch on that shame piece that you brought up, Kobi. We talked about how this is theoreticized or commonly thought of as an old man's problem. Well, guess what? Old men or people later in life, they have a lot easier time joking about this because society commonly recognizes it's an old man's problem. So there's less shame in it. Well, the problem is for the youngers, for the folks in their 20s that go through this. You don't feel like you can turn to anybody. So I really encourage you guys, my giveaway takeaway on this is I've been there. I've helped people deal with this. You can deal with it too. I can either consult you on where to go to take care of it on your own through a consultation, or I can help guide you through the psychological healing, self-acceptance, self-love, and confidence and self-esteem of building this up to make it so you can actually perform the way you want to perform. And once again, to reiterate, this is not just, trauma does not just induce physical problems with intimacy, vulnerability, and connection. The emotional, the intellectual, you being able to make friends, you being able to have people you call brothers that may not be blood related to you. Like, fellas, trauma is a big deal, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. If you acknowledge it and you find a way to kind of heal and accept and explore what has shaped you from some type of negative energy or story, you can have a much more profound life. Because as we've hinted at here so far, if this is something you're dealing with, it may have ramifications. If you're trying to grow socially, grow in a hierarchy at work, the confidence that comes with this is just, it's very important. So feel free to reach out to me. And at some point, as I'm putting together this men's group, as well as some men's workshops, this will be one of the topics where exercises will be given out for you guys to try. So anyways, that's what I've got on this. What do you guys have for giveaways, takeaways?
I think that's really great, but I do have one very important point to make here, guys. Listen, if you're in your 20s, early 20s, and you're having issues with this, maybe this is God's way of telling you that you're a heathen. No, I'm just kidding, guys.
We didn't have a trigger warning.
Guys, I had to lighten it up just a little bit here at the end here. But I take away, learned something very interesting. Viagra is a lot creepier as a company than I thought they were. Daddy's Little Helper just
Daddy's Little Helper.
I still can't do it. But again, my biggest takeaway for real this time, I was joking, is the shame around this is real. I think this better prepares me to maybe have a conversation with any friend or anybody that comes to me because and also I appreciate that piece you made here about that it's not just it's not just what we're thought, oh, this isn't working. Like 99% of men have had particular issues in different ways that you maybe not even categorized as dysfunction, and so to think about, oh well, yeah, that could be me. All right, so I appreciate that. Thank you for bringing up this topic today, and hopefully somebody out there got something out of it and is walking away from here with some solutions. And we'll also go ahead and contact Stu here and dive a little bit deeper because we all need a coach in the area of life we're trying to improve. So that's it for me, guys.
That's it. That's awesome, man. For me, the one takeaway is this is not fixed by pills. Oftentimes when we have this conversation, we're thinking about a pill. We're thinking about some quick fix, right? If I just take this thing, if I just take some, what's it called? Honey. I don't even know. They got all these
Blue Chew.
Is that what it is? Blue Chew. I don't know. Whatever it is.
Although I do have a concoction for this, though.
See, that's
I do have a concoction for this.
Listen,
go ahead and get you some tea, some hot water, lemon, fresh ginger, a little bit of apple, some sort of vinegar in there, right? Tap in maybe a little bit of cinnamon, right? Put in maybe a little bit of maple syrup, right? Tap in some cayenne, right? And go ahead and have that, within an hour, right? Within an hour. Make sure you don't overeat. Make sure you don't overdrink, right? Make sure you don't do those things. And just hit me up on Instagram, TikTok, anywhere in there, and let me know how it works out for you, because it has a very, very high success rate.
That's right. Well, there we go. That is a concoction that I'd be curious to have people try. I might try it. I don't know if it's going to
Give it a shot, bro.
Yeah, give it a shot. Just for you.
I'm telling you right now.
Kobi expects a full testimonial of the performance.
You will get one. You will get one.
You can send in that email, and you don't have to copy me. It's cool.
But yes, that adds to my takeaway again. It's not just a pill, ladies and gentlemen. That's not what is going to fix these types of things. It's not just about that one quick fix. It's about maintaining and right. If you use a potion per Kobi, or you take some of
He's
the
a
things,
witch.
you take some of the things that Stu has outlined for you today to say maybe we need to dive a bit deeper into some other practices. Regardless of it, just know that the fix is normally not one pill. The fix is normally not medication. This kind of sums up how we think about all of this stuff. It's not one cure-all that's going to get you to that point. It's going to be a combination of practices and lifestyle changes and mindset shifts and all of those types of things. So that's what this is about. We gave you the awareness around it. And now just know it's not a one quick fix. This is going to be something that you're going to change your lifestyle around, and then you'll see results.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, guys. That's it for us today. If you guys like what you heard, hopefully you did, subscribe, smash that like button, and tune in next Monday for another good episode. And share with somebody who would love or hate this episode. I'll be curious about the person that would hate this episode. Because all press is good press. And until next time, keep living the good life. And we out of here, baby.
Welcome to the good life.
Yeah.